So in the previous class, here there is an example. I will explain this example. S1 and S2 are the two slits separated by a distance of 5 lambda which are lying on the horizontal diameter of a circle. Find the number of maximas present on the total circular path. So this is the total process, total number of maximas. It will be explained as 20. And the shortcut method is, suppose if the distance between two slits is equal to d is equal to n lambda, then number of maximas present on the circle is equal to 4n. Number of maximas present on the circle is equal to 4n. Here in the given example, d is equal to 5 lambda, means n is equal to 5. Therefore, number of maximas on the entire circle is equal to 4 into 5, that is equal to 20. It is a shortcut method. Right. Next, in this class, let us explain what is meant by a diffraction. Diffraction of light. Somehow it is just difficult on compared with interference and also polarization. Let here diffraction of light. Interference means superposition of two light rays. Diffraction. Before explaining the definition for diffraction, let us explain a simple experiment. Suppose this is an experiment. Here there are two slits. S1 and S2 are the two slits. It is a screen kept at a certain distance from the two slits. Suppose a parallel beam of light is made to incident on the two slits. This is a parallel beam of light. It is made to incident on the two slits such that exactly opposite to this region, there is a complete dark region. This is also called, this is a dark shadow region. Above the dark shadow region means in this region there is no light. Above this region there is some illumination which is produced by both S1 and S2. But in general, according to interference YDSC experiment, S1 and S2 are the two slits. These two will be act as the source of secondary wavelets. This source can send the light rays like this. This source also sends the light rays in this direction. These two light rays are superimposed together to produce either dark or bright bands on the screen. That means the dark shadow present in the screen is not appeared like this. According to Newton's theory, light is propagated, Newton theory or Huygens theory, light is propagated in the form of rectilinear propagation, means light is always traveling in straight line directions. As the light is traveling along the straight line direction, compulsory, this is the obstacle, and the shadow of this obstacle is casted by the screen like this. Here there is no illumination as experimentally, but in this region there is some illumination will be observed on the screen. This illumination is mainly due to the light is just bending at the edges of the obstacle and edges of the slits. Okay, now therefore the bending of the light at the edges of the obstacle and encroaches into the geometrical shadow is known as the diffraction. Similarly, there is another experiment. Suppose here also it is a completely obstacle or opaque material. From this a source of light is taken, monochromatic source. light from monochromatic source is made to incident on the opaque material along this direction. This is. Again here this is a screen. It is a screen which is kept some distance from the opaque material. So opaque means there is no light passing through this material. In between this one and this one, just we observe that this is a completely dark shadow. But experimentally it is proved that on this complete dark region there is a certain region, up to certain region, light will be encroaches within the geometrical shadow. Ante from, suppose this is A to B anukundam. From A to A dash or from B to B dash, the light will be encroaches within the geometrical shadow. Means it is not a perfect boundary of the geometrical shadow. A and B are the not perfect boundaries of the geometrical shadow. And this light is encroaches so that it will be encroaches within the geometrical shadow. This encroachment means compulsory there should be a light is bending at the edge of the obstacle. This bending property of the light at the sharp edges of the obstacle is called as the diffraction. So this is the second experiment. Next one, experiment 3. Also here, let us consider an opaque material like this. This is opaque material. S is a source, point-wise source, and the light rays coming from the source which are incident on this like this, and these source can send the light rays in all directions. It is the opaque material, and this is a screen kept at certain distance from the opaque material. Also, so this is a straight line. Compulsory below this point, it is a completely dark shadow region. It is completely dark shadow region. And above this one is completely illuminated region. Completely illuminated region. But from this experiment, we conclude that at the edge of the obstacle, the light will be just encroaches, means the light will be extended into the geometrical shadow. That's why this point will not act as the sharp boundary corresponding to dark as well as bright. So the light will be encroaches like this. So up to certain distance, the intensity of the light will be decreases so that from this point onwards it is completely dark shadow. It is completely dark shadow region. So here this light will be encroaches within the geometrical shadow, means it is mainly due to bending of light at the edge of the obstacle. Here also the light is bending like this. The light is bending like this up to certain distance. So therefore, actually from this point above, it is completely illuminated region. But experimentally it is proved that it is not completely uniform illumination. So up to certain point the illumination will be increases. It is a small illumination increases. From this point also, above this point, there is one uniform illumination. So from this point and this point, from these 2 points, uniform darkness or uniform illumination is not observed. Here also the light is bending and also encroaches within the illuminated region. Ikkada kudanu light will be encroaches within the geometrical shadow. That's why this light will be encroaches means compulsory there should be a bending of light at the sharp edges of the obstacle. That property of light is called as the diffraction. So in general, suppose in this point there is a completely bright region and this is the second bright region. Gradually intensity will be decreases. Central bright, first bright, third bright, and also ikkada first bright, second bright, and so on. That means there are some uniform or alternately bright and dark bands are formed within this region. In this region only, alternately bright and dark bands are formed in this region by the superposition of light rays. Therefore, this production of bright and dark bands alternately on the screen is known as the diffraction. It is mainly due to diffraction of light. So, this alternately bright and dark bands are mainly by the diffraction of light. Okay. But here, there are no bright and dark bands in between illuminated region and dark region actually. But there is no sharp boundary between the illuminated and dark regions. Suppose this is the boundary and this is the actual boundary. Sharp boundary between illuminated and dark region, there is no sharp boundary between these two regions. This is mainly diffraction. So that's why diffraction is defined as the bending of light at the edges of the obstacle and also encroaches within the geometrical shadow is known as the diffraction. Right? In general, diffraction is classified into two types. And the first one is Fresnel diffraction. Second one is Fraunhofer diffraction. Fresnel diffraction, Fraunhofer diffraction. Scientist names Fresnel and Fraunhofer. Just you see, only we are having the differences between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffractions, and later I will explain only the Fraunhofer diffraction due to a single slit. Right? So the first one is Fresnel diffraction. In general, it is a slit. Single slit. So slit width is equal to A, and this is a screen. It is a screen. Now a point-wise monochromatic source is kept at finite distance from the slit. Finite distance. That means the light rays coming from S1, they are made to incident along this direction. So in between these 2 points there is completely illuminated region. Above this point and below this point, A and B are the 2 points. Above the point A and below the point B, there is no completely dark region. That means the light will be encroaches at this edge and also bending at this edge and also encroaches within the geometrical shadow. Here also this light will be encroaches above the point A. So the illumination will be decreases up to certain distance, and above this point there is a completely dark shadow, and below the certain point B to B dash, here also there is a completely dark shadow. This property of bending is called as the just like diffraction. Suppose here S is a point-wise source. It is kept at the finite distance from the slit so that nature of the wavefront incident on the slit is just nothing but a spherical wavefront. In general, on the screen here in this region we will observe diffraction maxima or minima, bright or dark bands above the point A or below the point B. But clearly diffraction pattern is observed on the screen in this situation. Whereas in case of Fraunhofer diffraction, and it is a slit and this is a screen. Generally, to observe the diffraction pattern on the screen must be the screen is kept at finite distance from the slit. Let here, according to Fraunhofer diffraction, the source is kept at point-wise source is kept at infinite distance. Point-wise source is kept at infinite distance means the light rays coming from the point-wise source at infinite distance becomes a parallel beam of light. This is a parallel beam of light coming from the source at infinite distance. So after bending, the light will be encroaches. Say for example, this light is bending like this. This light is also bending like this. That means the two light rays after bending from the slit also again a parallel beam of light. These two light rays are superimposed together to produce diffraction bands on the screen, which is also kept at infinite distance, because a parallel beam of light must be superimposed together at far away or infinite distance on the screen. But it is not possible. That's why to observe the diffraction bands on the screen, compulsory a convex lens is placed. It is a double convex lens. A double convex lens is placed in between slit and screen. Suppose a parallel beam of light is made to incident on the lens. After refraction, the light rays will be converges at its focus. Means diffraction bands are observed on the screen like this. So to observe this diffraction, here the one and only point is distance between lens and screen should be equal to its focal length. Also here, this is a light, this is another light. These three lights, these lights are, and this is passing through the center, it does not deviate. These two lights are converges and also forms at one point on the screen. So in between these 2 points, diffraction bands are observed. So what is the nature of the wavefront? In case of Fraunhofer diffraction, plane wavefront, whereas in case of Fresnel diffraction, it is spherical or cylindrical wavefronts. So this is the just experimental observations in between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffraction. See here, what are the differences between Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffractions? Fresnel and Fraunhofer diffractions. First one, here the source and screen are kept at finite distance from the slit. Here, compulsory source and screen are kept at infinite distance from the slit. Second one, nature of the wavefront in case of Fresnel is either spherical or cylindrical. But in case of Fraunhofer diffraction, nature of the wavefront is plane wavefront. Nature of the wavefront is plane wavefront. Third one, to observe the Fresnel diffraction, no lenses or mirrors are needed. But to observe the Fraunhofer diffraction, we are having a double convex lens which is kept in between the slit and screen. So these are the main differences between Fresnel diffraction and also Fraunhofer diffraction. Right? So in case of interference experiment or in YDSC experiment, already it is a well-known fact. In YDSC experiment, what is the condition for the maxima or bright? For maxima or bright, first one, path difference delta x is equal to, compulsory it is equal to n lambda, and phase difference delta phi is equal to, phase difference is equal to 2n pi. And also second one, what are the conditions for dark bands? First one, delta x is equal to, it is 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2, and phase difference delta phi is equal to 2n plus 1 into pi. 2n plus 1 into pi. Plus 1 or minus 1, no problem. Odd multiple of lambda by 2 is odd multiple of pi. Suppose plus 1 తీసుకున్నాం అనుకోండి, n is taken from 1, 2, 3 and so on. n is taken from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. 0, 1, 2, 3. Suppose if it is taken as 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2, n compulsory taken from 1, 2, 3 and so on. But there is no negative value here. Are you understand? Right. So these are the conditions for bright and dark bands in case of YDSC experiment. But in diffraction due to a single slit experiment, single slit diffraction, single slit experiment. Single slit means this is a slit. It is a slit. Also, the slit is taken as AB. Slit width is equal to, suppose it is taken as small a. Slit width is equal to A. Now a light is made to incident on the slit such that diffraction phenomenon is observed on the screen. Let the distance of the screen from the slit is equal to capital D and small a is equal to slit width. Suppose a parallel beam of light is made to incident on the slit. Parallel beam. It is a parallel beam of light. Let here, in between A and B, let us consider some more points. Each and every point on the wavefront act as the source of secondary wavelets according to Huygens principle. Suppose here on the screen, let it is a line drawn perpendicularly on the screen from the center of AB. So at the point O, there is a central bright band is formed. Central bright band. Again, just to observe this point P on the screen, these two lights are interfered together to produce either bright or dark. Suppose ikkada let at the point P there is a first dark is formed. First dark. Similarly, just below the point of central bright band, here also there is a first dark. This is the first dark and this is the first dark. In between these two, the complete one is a bright region. In this bright region, at point O, the illumination will be maximum, while going from 0 to above or 0 to below, O to below, intensity will be decreases, and at P the intensity is completely 0, and at Q, here also the intensity is 0. That means, in between this P and Q, the intensity of illumination will be decreases and goes to 0. At this point, intensity maximum, and P and Q intensity will be minimum. So the linear distance on the screen between P and Q is nothing but the linear width of the central maxima. This is called as the central maximum. Are you understand? Central maximum. Let the distance of the central maxima on one side is equal to, suppose it is y, and this is also equal to y. Clearly, my dear students, it is remember that here the proof is not necessary for the incoming observations. Only remember these points. Just what are the condition for minima or dark? At the point P, there is a minima or there is a first dark. Compulsory to produce the first dark at the point P, there is a path difference between AP as well as BP. Therefore, BP minus AP is equivalent to, it is remember that lambda. But how it is, we don't have this explanation. Remember, BP minus AP is equal to path difference is equal to n lambda aite. That is the condition for bright in case of interference. So in case of interference, bright bands, delta x is equal to n lambda. Whereas in case of diffraction, path difference should be equivalent to n lambda. That is true in case of dark regions. Means interference and diffraction both the conditions are opposite.